by Santos Borre on Ismael Kone.
Back pressure from Borre. As Kone swivels around, trying to find that pass, isn't he, into David or Oluwaseyi. Canada just at times reluctant to force it, which you can understand, but someone at some point is going to be brave to break down the Colombian back line. Game has been played between both boxes. We've not seen enough action from either team, and at some point tonight the shackles have to come off if a team wants to win this game. Schaffelberg getting ready to come in shortly.
Stacchio clipping a ball, but too close to Montero. Does appear like it's going to be a double substitution from Jesse Marsh, as Tani Oluwaseyi was the closest to that ball, but hung up in the air far too close to Montero. And Eustachio goes clattering in to James Rodriguez. James just 6 goals away from tying Radamel Falcao for most all time for Colombia, and that's race run for Tani Oluwaseyi. And Promise David getting set to come on for Canada. And not risking anything with Tajon Buchanan, it appears. It's going to be Jacob Schaffelberg onto the pitch for Canada.
I'd imagine Liam Miller goes across to the right-hand side. Not a bad night from Tajon Buchanan. He's been heavily involved and he's been very positive, and in many ways the best attacker for Canada. Didn't quite happen for him when he got in a few good spots, but he's the only one that's tested. Goalkeeper Alvaro Montero at the moment in the red of Canada. Promise David's got a chance now for 20 minutes plus a little bit of stoppage time to see what he can do. And Schaffelberg, I think his directness could be effective as people are tired in the last 20 minutes of this game.
Mojica. See how Canada cope with these substitutions. Will they fire into place, or will it take some time for the new lads to settle in here? It's all over the top by Lukumi, but Segur again comes across to mop up at the back for Canada. He's had himself a whale of a game. Segur keeping it up against Serna. James. Ball inside towards Mojica, and it was Segur with him every step of the way, and a push in the back by Johan Mojica. Gives Canada a free kick in their own box. And talk about answering the bell, Stevie. I could not have imagined a better performance from Nico Segur so far tonight.
No, not at all. And the reaction to his mistake in the last
নিয়মিত খেলা দেখতে চাইলে দ্রুত চ্যানেলটি সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন।
For Canada, everything's been very positive. There's been an ascent to his international career, and his first real setback.
এই চ্যানেলে নিয়মিত খেলা দেখতে চাইলে দ্রুত চ্যানেলটি সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন।
Against a world-class player and Luis Diaz, and he's absolutely answered so far. There's a lot of time to go in this game, but a little insight to
এই চ্যানেলে নিয়মিত খেলা দেখতে চাইলে দ্রুত চ্যানেলটি সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন।
Play this game and either right back, centre mid, wherever he's asked to play. He's just a good footballer, and I think an underappreciated part of his game is his athleticism, John. He's an incredibly athletic player. He showed it tonight.
Ball nearly falling kindly for Jonathan David after a big header won by Promise David. That's what he can do for Canada up top. Now Colombia trying to break back the other way. Fougerolles just getting a touch on it to prevent that counter-attack, but Colombia keep it up with Asprilla on the right side. One-on-one with Richie Larea. Asprilla cross inside, headed away by Cornelius. The crowd begging Portilla to shoot, and that is a horrible miss by the Colombian midfielder.
Totally miscued, wasn't it?
I think they may have thought that was James at the top of the box.
Yeah, big setup. I thought it was James for a minute myself, for a second. And it was James that almost inadvertently went to, but he was so close to Portilla. Couldn't get his foot on it, and definitely not expecting it. Canada maybe a bit slow to get out to that one. His eyes must have lit up, but he got it totally wrong. The 27-year-old midfielder.
Miller, header one inside. Portilla meets the second one. Fougerolles wins it for Canada, but Mojica getting to the second ball. All just pinging around at the moment. Finally settled down by Canada. Cornelius can't play the ball to Promise David. Again, more space opening up for either side. Asprilla trying to break into it with a heavy touch. Richie Larea trying to hold him off, and a foul called on the youngster. Asprilla, Girona's club record signing from Watford last year. 18 million euros plus 6 million in bonuses. Hasn't really lived up to it just yet this year. 0 goals this season. Just a return of 3 last year, but big things expected of the 21-year-old. Both teams trying to cope with their managers making the first substitutions of the match. Sanchez winning the header ahead of Promise David. David wins the second one. Schaffelberg flicking it on to Jonathan David, who slams it in.
There's an offside flag up.
And Jonathan David is baffled. And I do believe that offside flag is going to be on Jacob Schaffelberg more so than Jonathan David.
I think you're right, John. I don't think David could possibly have been offside. It must have been Schaffelberg coming back from an offside position. So unfortunate. He took it so well. Another example of his efficiency in front of goal when he gets there. So clinical, and it's a bitter disappointment for David himself and of course Canada. What a finish into the bottom corner. Not an easy one to take as well. Made it look so easy.
Warning sign for the Colombians. Because again, no VAR tonight.
That does not look offside at all. Schaffelberg has came back from an offside position, and for me it clearly looks like he's got the right side of the defender, no question, on David. But that looks like an absolutely terrible decision by the assistant referee on the far side. That should have been a goal for Canada, and they should have the lead in this game. Here it is again. Keep an eye on the header. Well, maybe just the back heel there. In fairness, it might just be the correct call from that second angle. It looked like Promise David's flick on.
Canada off the training ground. Schaffelberg to the back post. Fougerolles was just waiting for it. Serna getting just enough of him. And a foul going to be called here on Nico Segur, as Colombia were trying to break away at pace.
Yeah, that was a good foul to make by Nico Segur. He's winded Portilla in a bit of pain. Segur knows what he's doing. He knows that if he comes in here and he doesn't get the ball, he's got to stop Camilo Portilla from going the other way. You see him have a little look. He just gets right across the path. That is a high elbow from Segur. It's not a good challenge. On a few occasions here, the lack of VAR might have helped a couple of players. Certainly Larea in that first half for me. The challenge on Rios, that there from Segur. And potentially the offside decision on Schaffelberg, although in the second replay it did look like he was maybe a back heel offside.
We are still waiting on that first Colombian yellow card, though, as he joins Richie Larea and Derek Cornelius in the books. And so onto the pitch is Castaño for Richard Rios. And the Crystal Palace man, Crystal Palace legend, as is anyone who won the 2025 FA Cup with the Eagles, Jefferson Lerma onto the pitch.
Good sub to bring on, isn't it? Quality of a Premier League player, and Castaño, who started against Mexico in Dallas on Saturday evening.
So double switch in midfield. The two players who started in that match against Mexico onto the pitch for Colombia.
Middle.
Jefferson Lerma, before plying his trade at Crystal Palace, was a club record 30 million euro signing for AFC Bournemouth a few years ago, but seems to have really found his stride in London, as he and Munoz, who is still on the bench for Colombia, have put together quite a repartee down the right side for Crystal Palace. Montero. Long ball cut out by Canada. Good flick ball by David into the path of Kone, and never really caught it with Promise David and Jacob Schaffelberg lurking at the back post.
Yeah, he's having a look at Promise David in the middle, asking the question, but he's trying to shoot that Ishmael Kone. I don't criticise him for that, but he doesn't get it right. He just drags it across the front, nearly in towards the path of Promise David. But a lovely flick from Jonathan David. He's had some nice touches in this second half. He's definitely looked more effective for Canada. He's had the ball in the back of the net. Of course, Schaffelberg just coming back from that offside position, unfortunately for the Juventus striker, taking the goal off him.
Cornelius to Schaffelberg. Goes down by Roman. Colombia closing off all the space. And that's a sliding tackle by their captain, James Rodriguez. You don't see that every day. And so with 10 minutes left to go, still all to play for. Still just one shot on target for either side. And it does feel like one more moment is set to come for either manager. Asprilla can't link up with the teammate. Eustaquio off of Lorea. Defugero across to clean up. And a great ball by Eustaquio for Schaffelberg to chase onto. Jacob Schaffelberg, can he keep it in along the byline? All he can do is dribble it into the box. Nearly a turnover by Colombia, trying to get out here.
Look at Eustaquio again there, stepping forward. First playing the pass and then stepping forward to put pressure on Andres Roman. Great performance from him tonight, showing exactly what he brings to this team. Difficult time at club level, but the pride, the passion, the quality, the energy that he plays with in the red of Canada, there for everyone to see tonight.
Poked ball through to Roman. He found himself in the middle of the park multiple times here for Colombia. Promise David, good tracking back.
দ্রুত চ্যানেলটি সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন।
For that foul on Ishmael Kone, and
নিয়মিত খেলা দেখতে চাইলে দ্রুত চ্যানেলটি সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন।
Absolutely incredible, John, that's not a yellow card. Never want to see players booked, but the yellow cards that we've seen tonight.
এই চ্যানেলে নিয়মিত খেলা দেখতে চাইলে দ্রুত চ্যানেলটি সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন।
Really strange way of refereeing this game tonight. Guido Gonzalez Jr. definitely been more in favour of Colombia. I know it's a neutral venue, but
এই চ্যানেলে নিয়মিত খেলা দেখতে চাইলে দ্রুত চ্যানেলটি সাবস্ক্রাইব
that
করুন।
affects a referee. Zorhan Basong and Mathieu Chouanier coming in shortly.
David with Colombian bodies all over him, turning the ball over.
Defugero again, just so observant, totally focused on the game and just up to the speed of the match. He's made little challenges like that all day, little interceptions, been in the right position, kept possession for his team. Another terrific game from the young centre-back.
A man trying to ease away from Schaffelberg, clipping the ball towards Asprilla, who's got to step on Lorea. Lorea makes up the ground and pokes it away, though. One of his last contributions to the match. And a throw up coming for Canada. And I do believe these substitutions are going to finally be allowed by Guido Gonzalez Jr. Jesse Marsh screaming out "Listos," which in Spanish means is that okay to go, and apparently still going to have to wait on these substitutions. Finally going to be allowed here.